AI is making you a worse developer. I know your velocity is up, but your skills are going down. I've been interviewing backend developers for the past 6 months, and I can tell you right now, the quality has dropped off a cliff. These candidates have beautiful GitHub profiles, their code looks clean, their projects are polished, but the second I ask them to explain their own code and what it does under the hood, they completely fall apart. Something has changed and AI is the center of it. Here's what I've been seeing and why it should scare you if you're a newer backend dev right now. The first thing I want to talk about is something that I call the architecture blind spot. This is something we don't talk about nearly enough. When a junior dev asks AI to build a feature, the AI doesn't just write code. It makes architecture decisions as well. It picks patterns. It decides how to structure your data models. And the dev just accepts it because the code works, the code runs. But running and being correct for your system design are two completely different things. AI tools default to common patterns they've seen in training data, but your system might not be common. Your business logic has edge cases, your data models have specific relationships, and your scaling requirements are unique. AI doesn't know any of your context unless you explicitly provide it, and most developers don't even know what context to provide. So here's like a real example. An AI might generate perfectly clean repository pattern with dependency injection for a simple CRUD API that serves 50 users. If you don't even know what I just said, that's because it's most likely over-engineered. Or it might generate a flat, no abstraction script for something that needs to be crafted for 85,000 users. The AI doesn't usually know the difference. I mean, it can if you give it more context, but the idea is that it might still give you something that's incorrect. There's this classic framework in software engineering. Make it work, make it right, make it fast. This whole progression gets completely skipped when AI generates the architecture. The AI jumps straight to make it look professional, which isn't even one of the 3 items, without considering whether the approach even solves the actual business problem. Premature optimization is the root of all evil, and AI loves to prematurely optimize. And here's what I've been seeing more and more. Junior devs are losing the ability to draw a system on a whiteboard. They can't explain why their service talks to the database this way, or why they chose this caching strategy, or why the authentication flow, works the way it does. That's not engineering. That's following instructions from a machine, and you're not even creating the instructions. You're just passing in the prompt. And I know this because this literally just happened to me. I just built a platform called the Backend OS, which is trying to teach people to solve certain problems. And I delegated a feature to the AI. Well, later on, I was having a big issue inside the feature and ended up being that we were calling the endpoint multiple times. And I was having this idempotent issue happening. But it was all because of the way AI integrated the feature. And I trusted AI because I had AI write the feature. I actually provided the instructions, and I had AI write the unit tests and integration tests. So they were passing on my machine, they were passing in my GitHub actions, everything was passing. So when it did finally fail, I was having trouble identifying where it might be because everything was getting a green light. Everything looked good. So with that, I want you to be completely honest right now. Have you ever completely trusted AI, whether that's Claude Code, Codex, to write all of the code and all the unit tests for you? Leave your answer in the comments because I'm really curious, because I see like 50-50 split of people saying trust AI with everything and the other half saying don't. So what's your answer? Because I'm kind of like in the middle-ish. So what would I do to fix that problem that I ran into? Before writing any code for a new feature, I spend like 5 to 10 minutes designing the entire architecture. What entities exist? How do they relate to other entities? Where does the data flow? And then after that, I use AI to clarify my design to help implement my design. Not to create the design, but to clarify my design, double down on my design, find any areas that might be off so I can, talk with it a little bit and find different areas, and then finally implement. That's how I believe you should use AI. Now, this next one is what I call the edge case graveyard. And this is where things get really expensive if you do things wrong. So let me tell you something I learned the hard way at a manufacturing company that processes over 2,400 large orders a day. The happy path is what I believe is the least important path. Every user hits it. It's the most tested. Everyone knows it exactly. It's the failure paths that break your business. And AI is absolutely terrible at failure paths. It just kind of throws try catches everywhere. AI generates code that handles the expected flow perfectly. User creates account, user logs in, user makes a request, user gets a response. Beautiful. It is the center of every CRUD application. But what about when a user submits the same form twice in 500 milliseconds? How's your system respond? What about when a user uses apostrophe in their name? What about when a user's session expires mid-process? Or what about when a payment webhook fires and the order has already been created, which is known as idempotent? These are the scenarios that cost companies a ton of money, and AI usually does not think of any of that. I'll give you a real story real quick. A developer builds a discount feature. All the tests are green. He deploys on Thursday. Friday morning comes. Customers are stacking double discounts on top of each other and essentially getting things for free. And it's all because things weren't implemented correctly. Do you know who that developer is? You're looking at him. So that is a situation where you really want to make sure you understand all the edge cases that can possibly go into creating a system or a feature, because there can be some dumb things, guys, that ends up just ruining a system from a functionality standpoint. And that's because historically, devs have learned about edge cases from being burned. They learned these because they broke production and they traced it back to their code, and they never made that mistake again. With AI, things can ship faster, which means you might be missing those edge cases, and you might be pushing, multiple of those production features before the first one's even caught. Therefore, now you have multiple production features in an application. This, I believe, is going to happen more and more and more. And it's really up to the experience that people get to double down on edge cases to fix that. So what I would recommend is for every feature, think through edge cases. What if the input is empty? What if it's called twice? What happens to the downstream services? Train your brain to think in edge cases. You kind of need to think like a hacker and think, how can you break your own system? Now, this next one is something I call the velocity trap. And it might be the most dangerous one on the list. And real quick, if any of these are hitting home for you, can you do me a huge favor and hit that like button? It helps more developers find this video. And honestly, this is stuff I wish someone told me in the beginning of my career. So let me be clear about something. Your manager sees your ticket velocity. They see you closing Jira tickets and shipping real features. You're hitting your sprint goals and the entire team's velocity is increasing. And right now, everything looks great. But here's the problem that might be happening. The second something goes wrong that the AI can't fix, that day will come. And it's already hit me multiple times. And I would say I'm a power user of AI. There's a growing disconnect between output and ability in developers. A junior developer using AI can knock out, 3 to 4 tickets because they just prompt the AI and Claude Code does its thing, knocks it out, and it works good on the surface. And managers and team members see that as productivity. But the devs underlying the engineering skills haven't grown at all. They're outsourcing the growth part to AI, and they're just becoming a prompter. And this creates what I call the velocity trap. And this can carry big issues. Imagine someone on your team getting promoted based on velocity and output. Now they're a mid-level engineer expected to design systems, mentor juniors, and make architecture decisions, but the actual skill is still a junior level because AI carried them through all the work. That was supposed to teach them, and now the promotion is becoming the trap. A lot of companies, I guarantee, are going to fall into this, where they have junior and senior devs who do not know what the heck they're doing because AI was at their fingertips, which allowed them to do things quicker, but they don't know the right decision to make at times. That will have a huge downstream effect on their entire company software. The progression from junior to senior is fundamentally about building judgment. When to use cache, when to add an index, when to break a service apart, when not to optimize, when to push back a product requirement because it'll create technical debt. These decisions come from experience and pattern matching, not simply from AI prompting. And I'm all for using AI, but you have to understand why these decisions are happening. AI can easily compress the doing part of development, but the understanding part you need to have. A dev may be able to ship 3 times more code with AI, but if you don't understand why the code works, they're not accumulating the experience that drives promotions. And companies are starting to see this, right? They're able to differentiate between AI augmented engineers and those who use AI to accelerate their work. The first group, you need to be able to be the engineer who accelerates their work and understands the tech underneath. Because when AI tools go down, or the AI tools change in pricing, or when you join a company with stricter security policies that limit AI tooling access, your actual output drops to your real skill level. That's a jarring moment for everyone involved, especially for your new manager who hired you based on your previous output. And here's the peer comparison problem. You're being compared to other juniors who are using AI, right? But the ones who use it as a learning tool while doing the hard thinking themselves are building real skills. And in 12 to 18 months, there will be a huge difference. So now let's talk about the way forward, because I don't want you to leave this video thinking AI is the enemy, because it's not. I use AI every single day, but there's a massive difference between using AI the way that makes you better and using AI that makes you dependent. And the devs who figure out the difference right now are going to be untouchable in 2 years. So this is what I call like the teach me approach, right? So instead of saying, write me a function that handles rate limiting, maybe ask, can you explain me 3 different approaches to learning rate limiting and implement this in our backend design? Claude Code can go into plan mode and list out different ways of how you can implement rate limiting. It'll give you its recommendation. You can kind of proceed from there, but at least you're learning, right? It's all about learning. This is 10 times more valuable than accepting generating code. There's also another technique that I love. After you build a feature, paste your code into AI and ask it to find problems. Explain what the section does and suggest where it might break under load. Use AI as a code reviewer that never gets tired and never judges you. This builds understanding after the fact, and it's one of the best learning habits you can develop. Like right now professionally, I use Claude Code as my main coder, and then I use Codex as my code reviewer locally, and we also have Codex running in our pull requests on GitHub Actions. So I always have Claude Code and Codex kind of going back and forth. That is how I learn too, because I also have them explain their approach into why they're better than the other one. It's kind of fascinating. You should try it. I like to think of it as like the 70-30 rule. Like 30% of the time I'll just let like AI do its thing. That's like for like boilerplate code, easy things, maybe like code reviews. And then the 70% of the time I have Claude Code and Codex kind of going at it while teaching me all the decisions that it wants to make. And then now either A, I already know which one I want to go with because I've been there and I have knowledge, or B, it teaches me things that I might not know, which is one of the biggest parts of the you don't know what you don't know problem. And that's, the platform I'm trying to build. If you don't know what platform it is, it's called the Backend OS. It's in the descriptions, but it's trying to solve the you don't know what you don't know problem. And I'm trying to have AI also help me identify the gaps in my understanding. So how does that help you with your career? Companies are starting to test for AI independent coding ability in interviews, because this is the only way to actually be able to find out what people know. They're giving whiteboard problems without IDE access, asking candidates to explain code line by line and, testing them to debug maybe skills that they've already had, they've already found in their own code base. And the juniors or mid or even seniors who built real skills alongside the AI usage are able to crush these interviews. And the ones who are leaning completely on AI are getting exposed. And that's part of where I think this whole poor job market is falling into. Is there's a ton of people applying for jobs, but there's also a ton of people who can't pass interviews because they're letting AI do all the thinking. And that statement right there brings me to the last thing I want to leave you with, which I call the growth plateau. But here's the good news. If you've recognized yourself in any of what I've talked about today, that recognition is the first step. That's literally how you grow. Every senior developer you admire has made these mistakes. The difference is they've stuck around long enough to acknowledge them and fix them. The career math is brutal though. If a junior dev uses AI 80% of the time, that means after 2 years, they only have 5 months of real experience. The resume says 2 years. You start applying for 2-year jobs, but you really only have 5 months of experience and 2 years of using AI. Companies are starting to catch on, right? Some teams are now running no AI coding sessions during interviews, specifically to catch people, because they want those people to be the brain behind the software getting created. They don't care if you delegate to AI. They want to make sure that you have the understanding of why you're delegating to AI in the first place. And I think that's kind of a big thing going on right now, is when you're creating with AI, they need someone to understand why they want to proceed with what AI gave you. Because if you think about it, if you're just being a prompter and you're accepting everything AI does, and you don't have the technical knowledge to really identify why AI is doing something, are you even needed? You could stick anybody in that seat to prompt an AI, right? You need to still have the understanding to why you're proceeding with, certain situations, because AI is not going to replace software engineers. It's just going to increase velocity. But at the end of the day, you're a software engineer using AI. You're not just like a random person using AI. And I truly believe this because like AI isn't going anywhere, and you definitely want to use these tools. However, you want to make sure that you're using them in the correct way, in a way that will help you grow as an engineer, right? And the most technical people are in crazy demand right now. If you're technical and you can use AI, you're in such high demand. So with that, keep learning, keep building products, and I'll see you in the next video.